If you want to learn something about God, shut your mouth and listen to me for a minute.
Many children healed. We've seen midgets grow. We've seen arms and legs that stop growing because the growth cells have stopped. Manda da basata. I don't make this stuff up.
Behold, the atheist's nightmare.
That's the power of the Holy Ghost!
Why do they teach every other theory in science except creation?
Warlocks are enemies of God.
No one's ever going to convince me that the Word of God is not true.
You know, if you put Jesus Christ first, that he'll look after all your bills.
And so the devil said, okay, it's a deal.
And if you want to tell me how to live my life, it better line up with the Word of God or shut your mouth.
I'm loaded. I'm pregnant with miracles.
What do you believe?
Send us the cash.
Welcome to the Bible Dumb Podcast. This is the podcast where two atheists read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. I'm Davy Hill.
I'm Josie Hill.
And we are back into Samuel today, and I think this is going to be a big one. This is going to be an important, time-honored story from the Bible, one that's still told to this day.
That's good, because I feel like it's been a while since anything important has happened.
True. I think the last thing that, big thing was Samson being a badass, getting his eyes poked out and toppling the Colosseum.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the last, in the public consciousness thing that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's talking about Ruth.
No.
Or Ner. Learned about Ner last time. Yeah, I always can kind of tell, I think, when it's at the beginning of the show and I'm like, Jessica, Jesse, tell me, what happened last time? I can always kind of be like, well, she's not going to know anything about last episode. Nothing happened.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that while the music was playing, and I was like, But now I'm kind of vaguely remembering. And Samuel, who do we got? We got Samuel and
important characters
Saul.
Here. We got Samuel, Saul, and Jonathan.
Jonathan.
These are the ones I remember.
Yeah. Jonathan's creating drama.
By doing what?
He was starting a war.
Mm-mm.
No?
No, that was good.
What was he doing?
That got him off the hook. Ate some honey.
Oh, yeah, he ate honey.
Ate some honey when his daddy
they didn't
said
get him
no.
off the hook with Samuel. Samuel didn't like that.
Well, Samuel was going to kill him, but the people said, no, Jonathan, with the war.
Yeah, but that just because the people are behind him doesn't mean that was the good thing to do.
And so what about Saul? Where are we with Saul?
Saul made himself king, right?
Well, yeah, he's king. Samuel made him king.
Oh. He
did something bad.
Yeah, he's making sacrifices outside of the tabernacle.
Yeah, and my friend Chris made an excellent point where he said,
oh, we need to call him X.
X. Yeah, Xtifer.
X, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so my friend X, he made an excellent point where he was saying that, it's a bigger deal than even we give it credit for, that he was performing the business of the church without the church's consent.
Ooh, that's pretty relevant to today's times.
I know, yeah. And so, the church is still the power, it's still supposed to be the governing power. It's still supposed to be the, the be-all, end-all authority in this civilization. So the fact that he's, just arbitrarily taking over the duties of the church, that's a big no-no.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's why Samuel's like, fuck you. I'm out of here.
I've heard a lot of conversations recently about separation of church and state and how it wasn't originally created to protect non-religious people. It was created to protect religion from the state.
Mm.
And keep things
from the state from like legislating what can and cannot be done by the church? Or...
More the state using religion to manipulate things.
Right.
As is what is going on now, you know.
Yeah.
To keep it from becoming political.
Right on.
Because your religion shouldn't be political.
Imagine your religion should not be religion. But you're right, you know. I guess there's
Yeah, but like I
mean, you don't want a
The only
right-wing church battling with your left-wing church, right?
Right. And the only time that religion really bothers me is when they do things like, we got to put the 10 Commandments in every classroom. We got to put a Bible in every classroom. Like, I don't care about people who like want to do moon signs and, you know, want to read auras or whatever. You know, like, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. You do your thing.
Religious people would be so offended to hear you conflating the two, I think. But I totally
exactly
agree.
The same.
They're like, we don't do auras and tarot cards. We eat the body of Christ that's been transfigured into a wafer. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, it's definitely going to end up biting themselves in the butt, right?
We can only hope. We have a pretty diverse country. Like, for Oklahoma to just be like randomly putting like Bibles in every classroom,
Not just
there's
any
got to
Bible
be some
too. It's got to be
backlash,
Trump's
right?
Bible.
That's so fucking stupid. Oh my God.
Mhm.
That's like a whole state. There's only
Yeah.
50 states.
Oh,
That's a big percentage.
crap ton of money. The only hope that there is that people just don't follow through. You
I
know?
thought you were going to say that Oklahomans can't read.
Oh, well, there's
Well, that's bad.
no, there's plenty of Oklahomans that can read.
Of course, it's a joke.
Yeah, of course.
Just joking.
You're joking. But the hope is like the counselor can't do their job. Like, I'm having trouble getting the counselor to switch our daughter's schedule right now that cross country's over. Like, she's telling me to talk to the coach, and the coach is like, no, talk to the counselor. Like, well, our youngest doesn't have first period now, so she doesn't have to go to, like, which is the greatest thing for her, but, you know.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? Like, they can't, I mean, it's a huge problem. It's not just...
Well, who's going to do nobody's going to do all that. They don't have people that can...
Well, how are they going to teach evolution?
Do you know how many times absences are counted wrong? Like, there's not going to be anybody in there in the school that is going to be there buying Bibles. So I'm not too worried about it. Like, I feel like that's a lot of things are going to slip through the cracks, you know? Like, people are going to be like, oops, didn't get a Bible in this classroom. So it might...
No, then PTA moms, they're going to make sure.
Yeah, PTA moms are a different breed.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally fucked. It's a horrible thing.
Yeah, but you
and
also...
it needs to be put to an end immediately.
Definitely. As soon as possible. But also, you always think of like there's a lot of smart people in history, you know, and they do things like creating separation of church and state for very important reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And when people in the future don't listen to that and don't follow that, it ends up crumbling that society or that.
Well, yeah, you have separate institutions that are a check and balance on one another. So if you want to have like your church congregation where you create your own beliefs and decide how you're going to live, like you have to have a countering institution of education where people can like look into good ideas, test them, and see what is true. So you have one institution that's telling stories in order to manipulate people into living a certain way. And that's fine. It could be for good or for bad in some cases, but you have to have a countering institution of truth where thoughtful, questioning, skeptical people can look into it and decide for themselves what matches with reality and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, if it's all the same institution, then it's all just a big fucking lie.
I do feel like it's just anecdotally.
Yeah, you got it.
I do feel like we're taking a turn for the better. Like, just as like a healthcare provider, like throughout my career, like things started out what was normal, and then things really went like, well, I'm not going to believe anything that you say, and I'm not going to do any of this, and I'm leaving AMA back
against medical advice.
Yes, and then back to it's kind of becoming a little bit more normal.
Okay.
People are, at least in our community, I feel like people are starting to think, okay, I'm going to try this new medication, or yes, I'm going to be up for this, or yes, I'm going to be up for that. We still have quite a few intense, like Christian Scientist people who just think that Chinese medicine is better, and but like the stereotypical Chinese medicine, the like, I'm going to use herbs. Like, people in China don't do that. Ding dong. Like, what are you talking about? They live in the same world we do.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That gives me a little bit of hope. Like, I hope things course correct a little bit.
And I feel like there's been a lot of people who are like, while there still are hardcore Trump people, I feel like there are some people that are coming around.
Yeah.
We got way off topic. I don't know how we even got here.
That's all right. All right. Well, maybe some of it'll be relevant in today's reading. We'll see. All right. Let's just jump into it. Chapter 15. Samuel also said unto Saul,
The Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts,
I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
All right, there we go.
There's your God.
There he is.
Like, how can you?
At it again. Infant and suckling. These people, like, are in total denial. Like, how do they read this and say, oh, that's just figurative language. That's just hyperbole. He didn't really mean kill everyone. It's like, yeah, he's getting real specific.
Yeah, he is.
Infant and suckling. Like, absolutely astounding. Yeah.
Like, and you can't even come back and be like, oh, well, this is just the vengeful God. Because we're still in the Old Testament, right?
Right.
I got it. I didn't say it first.
You didn't say, like, Old Edition or whatever you normally say.
first
oh, yeah.
I almost did, and then I was like, wait, no. But everybody was like, you're still following this God.
Yeah. Well, that was like yeah, they say it's the same one. They say it's the same God.
Yeah. I guess maybe he just went to therapy before the second New Testament.
New Testament, yeah. I guess I don't know. Is Jesus like when he came and like was Jesus for a few years? Like, was that like supposed to have changed him? Like, and made like.
I saw the stupidest thing today. Okay, this goes political again. But this lady was interviewing J.D. Vance, and you know how he's made a lot of rude comments about childless cat ladies and that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
He was trying to say that people who don't want to have kids are psychotic because kids can change you and they can make you have a whole new perspective on life and blah, blah, blah. And I just want to, yeah, sure, of course. But you can find that in other ways.
Well, sure. I've seen a lot of parents change when they had kids too for the worse.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, want to blow their brains out.
Yeah.
Luckily, that did not happen. That was not my experience, but it ain't for
Yeah,
everybody. That's for sure.
That's true. Yeah. It just made me think one of the things that made you start considering veganism was not our children,
Right.
but was Ghost, was our dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Having a special relationship with, an animal who so clearly expressed unique emotion and personality different from any other animal that I've ever met. Yeah, it really made me realize, like, oh, they're all like this.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
I think it's a little odd, people like God who have to have a child in order to understand how valuable relationships are, or the world is, or our environment is. That is crazy. Like, you shouldn't. Those are people that should go to therapy before they have children.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, most people should.
Yes, you should be more stable than that if you're bringing another human being into the world.
Yeah.
And not all, and sure, there's some people that it does really hit you whenever you do finally have a kid, but that shouldn't be the only thing.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
But it does confuse me. God is said to have come down to earth as a man, right? He lived as a man, sacrificed him, but it's also his son. I don't know, it's confusing. We'll get there. But, is that why he's nice now? Why people say he's all loving now, but in the Old Testament he was a bad boy, killing everybody? Maybe he supposed to have, learned his lesson?
Maybe he came down and he realized, oh, wow, it kind of sucks down here sometimes. It does kind of suck being hungry sometimes. Blows. Now I get why they were so mad every time they wanted food.
Yeah, but
those hunger pains hurt.
But I don't know. That kind of contradicts his all-knowing.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, omniscience. So I don't know. That's funny. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to a city of Amalek and laid wait in the city. And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. So they keep mentioning that they got to go get their revenge for what happened when they left Egypt. But that was generations ago.
Yeah. And what are they revenging on?
So when they first got across from the Red Sea, they got attacked by a tribe of people, which I'm guessing was these people, the Amalekites. And that was the battle where Moses had to put his hands above his head in order for them to win.
Oh, yeah.
And when his arms got tired, Aaron and Joshua came over and held his hands up. That's this is, I think, those people.
Okay. Or
that was a long time ago.
There were also people that they were pretty upset with when they were when they were on their journey.
Yeah, when they were crossing through the city.
Yeah, and somebody was like, no, you can't cross through our city. You have to go around. Could it have been them too? Could
have been. Yeah.
Either way.
But I think those were the people they utterly destroyed in numbers.
Oh, yeah, they
Maybe
did.
not, though. I don't know.
No, I think they did.
Okay.
Yeah, because pretty sure they did. Now that you say that, yeah.
But Saul and the people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them. But everything that was vile and refuse they utterly destroyed, like the children. It's like, oh, well, I know he said to kill everything, but this stuff that's still worth something to me, I'll spare.
So what did they not destroy?
They didn't destroy the fatlings and the oxen and the sheep, the best of them, that they could still use and sell and profit from. Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying,
It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me, and hath not performed my... It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments.
And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night.
But Samuel was already knowing that Saul wasn't doing good.
True, but I guess this was the last straw, that he didn't kill everything. God is pissed off. He's like, I told you to kill all the oxen, all the sheep, and all the asses, as well as the humans. But you saved some for yourself, and so that's the final straw. I regret making you king.
That's insane.
Yep. And Samuel cried all night. Because he's got to be the one to go and tell Saul.
That middle management position.
Yeah, exactly. And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel. And behold, he set him up a place, and is gone about, and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord. And Samuel said,
What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear?
And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites. For the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. Then Samuel said unto Saul,
Stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord hath said to me this night.
And he said unto him, Say on. And Samuel said,
When thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? And the Lord anointed thee king over Israel? And the Lord sent thee on a journey, and said, Go, and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly upon the spoil, and didst evil in the sight of the Lord?
And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took of the spoil sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal. And Samuel said,
Do you really think that? Or is he just...
Yeah, he's backtracking. Oh, yeah, he got caught red-handed.
Yeah, he's like, no.
She's like, no, Mom. I haven't been taking drugs. It's like, well, what's that smell coming from your bedroom, Saul? Your bathroom smells an awful lot like Mary Jane, Saul. Like reefers. Oh, well, I was just going to sacrifice it. Yeah.
It was my friends, and I was just burning it so they didn't smoke it.
Yeah. And Samuel said,
Hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of the lambs.
Okay, so here's the lesson right here. Obedience trumps all. That's the best virtue, is to shut up and do what you're told. That's the moral of this story.
I don't think that ever works out.
It's like, no matter what circumstance, no matter if it benefits you, it's the right thing to do. Doesn't matter. Obedience, that's what we value.
Do not listen to your instinct.
Right. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king. And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord, and thy words,
because I feared the people and obeyed their voice.
This is interesting.
I served the people rather than you. So that's why I can't be king anymore. Don't take the thoughts and needs of your people into account. Okay, so are we turned around on Saul? Was Saul a good guy after all? Was Saul a good man after all? But not Saul bad man?
Maybe. I mean, he kind of made mistakes in the beginning, right? Like he got us into this.
Well, I mean, he did go kill every man, woman, and child of the Amalekites, so he's going to be bad guy.
Yeah, he's done bad things.
Okay, I take it back. I was just going to say, like, he spared his son because the people said, no, don't kill him. And then here he is listening to the people again and not killing the oxen.
Very interesting take on Saul Goodman.
Yeah.
From Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, I gotta go back and like make some corrections from last episode. So Samuel Clemens, yeah, that's Mark Twain's pen name, his pseudonym.
Okay, I do always think that sounds like a baseball player, though.
Yeah, it does sound like a good baseball player name, but
I think
I was embarrassed that I couldn't bring that to mind.
Nobody reads Mark Twain anymore, anyway.
Yeah, they do.
They don't.
Yeah, they do. He's awesome. Then what else? Oh yeah, the Saul Goodman. It's his name's probably not from Saul in the Bible, but just the pun. It's all good, man. It's all good, man.
Well, yeah, but you don't think that they pulled from this?
Well, maybe they did. I don't know.
I feel like maybe they did now.
I just forgot about the pun part of it. It just went right over my head. I don't know. I was a little bit out of it last week.
How do you forget about that part?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, I feel like this is definitely hitting on Saul's like main character points, where he starts out pretty shady. He tries to do some good things. He goes real bad, and then he tries to make up for it
by doing bad things.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
There's definitely some parallels between Saul in the Bible and Saul from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I could see that.
For sure.
That is a fantastic, like, story arc, though. Like, doing good things doing bad for good. Like,
yeah.
Can you do bad for a greater purpose? Like, does that work out? Is it just? Great show.
Yeah.
Way better than this story.
Oh yeah. I think it, spoiler alert, I think at the end of the series it kind of proves no.
Well, it's proved it at the beginning. There's nothing more depressing than that opening of him working in a Cinnabon in black and white. It's like flashing back to my retail days. It's just like, oh God.
Now therefore, I pray thee, pardon my sin, and turn again with me, that I may worship the Lord. And Samuel said unto Saul, I will not return with thee, for thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord hath rejected thee from being king over Israel. And as Samuel turned about to go his way, he laid hold upon the skirt of his mantle, and it rent. And Samuel said unto him, The Lord hath rent the kingdom of Israel from thee this day, and hath given it to a neighbor of thine, that is better than thou. And also the strength of Israel will not lie nor repent, for he is not a man, that he should repent. Then he said, I have sinned, yet honor me now, I pray thee.
Who's saying this?
I don't know.
All right, so he ripped off... What's a mantle? Ripped up the skirt of his mantle. I don't know.
Read before that.
And as Samuel turned about to go away, he laid hold upon the skirt of his mantle, and it rent. And Samuel said unto him, The Lord hath rent the kingdom of Israel from thee this day, and hath given it to a neighbor of thine that is better than thou. So he just like ripped.
Must be like...
It's like probably whatever the curtain on his door or whatever.
Yeah.
Like ripped it off.
Yeah.
It's
gotta be like some...
He just gave him a big fuck you.
Well, some significance that he is of important standing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he said, I have sinned, yet honor me now, I pray thee, before the elders of my people, and before Israel, and turn again with me, that I may worship the Lord thy God. So Samuel turned again after Saul, and Saul worshipped the Lord. Then said Samuel, Bring ye hither to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately. And Agag said, Surely the bitterness of death is past. You're not still mad about this, are you?
Good try, guy. Good try.
And Samuel said, As thy sword hath made women childless, so shall thy mother be childless among women. And Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal. Dang.
Oh.
Then Samuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to his house in Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel came no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul, and the Lord repented that he had made Saul king over Israel.
Okay.
All right, we're done with Saul.
Yeah. Saul lived in exile, I guess.
Yeah, he's just a regular guy now.
Had no more friends.
Well, Samuel's not coming to pay him visits, which,
Yeah.
after that display from old man Samuel just hacking a dude up with a sword, a disarmed fallen opponent. It's just a funny turn of events, though. I love how they put in here that Agag was like, come on.
It does seem really unnecessary.
Let's just let bygones be bygones, all right?
I was joking, guys.
All right, here we go. Chapter 16. And the Lord said unto Samuel,
How long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil, and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons.
And Samuel said, How can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Lord said,
Take a heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, that I will show thee what thou shalt do. And thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee.
Okay. This is weird.
Yeah, I love how God gives him like a cover story.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't go crown a new king. Saul will be pissed off. And he's like, well, just pretend you're making a sacrifice. It'll be cool.
And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, Comest thou peaceably? And he said, Peaceably.
We heard you're fucking nuts.
Yeah, I heard you're a fucking psychopath. We heard what you did to that Agag guy. And he said, Peaceably, I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves, and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and called
Who's
them.
Jesse?
He's this dude in Bethlehem.
Yeah, but like, okay, we're just going with
He's
it.
just a new guy.
Okay.
Sanctified Jesse and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab, and said, Surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said unto Samuel,
Look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart.
Then Jesse called Abinadab, and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, Neither hath the Lord chosen this. Okay. I like-
Okay.
God says, don't judge a book by its cover. The first dude was probably like ripped. He's probably jacked. An awesome warrior guy. And he's like, oh, I think we found our guy. And Lord said, nope. You can't just judge
him by his outside. The Lord judges by a man's heart. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by, and he said,
Neither hath the Lord chosen this.
Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel.
Oh,
and Samuel. What?
7 of his sons, like his real sons.
I guess so. And Samuel said unto Jesse,
The Lord hath not chosen these.
And Samuel said unto Jesse,
Are here all thy children?
and he said, what?
Nepotism.
Oh, for sure. And he said,
There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep.
And Samuel said unto Jesse,
Send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither.
And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And the Lord said,
Arise, anoint him, for this is he.
Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. Okay. I just think it's funny. It's just like petty. Just like not only like, am I abandoning you, but to go to a different king. But I'm just going to leave some shit, some evil spirit in its place, just to fuck you up a little bit. And Saul's servants said unto him, Behold now, an evil spirit from God troubleth thee. Let our Lord now command thy servants, which are before thee, to seek out a man who is a cunning player on a harp. And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from God is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well. And Saul said unto his servants, Provide me now a man that can play well, and bring him to me. Then answered one of the servants, and said, Behold, I have seen a son of Jesse the Bethlehemite that is cunning in playing, and a mighty valiant man, and a man of war, and prudent in matters, and a comely person, and the Lord is with him. Wherefore Saul sent messengers unto Jesse, and said, Send me David thy son, which is with the sheep. And Jesse took an ass laden with bread, and a bottle of wine, and a kid, and sent them by David his son unto Saul. And David came to Saul and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor-bearer. And Saul sent to Jesse, saying, Let David, I pray thee, stand before me, for he hath found favor in my sight. And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from God was upon Saul, that David took a harp, and played with his hand, so Saul was refreshed, and was well, and the evil spirit departed him.
Okay.
So was this evil spirit just like a bad mood? And it sounds like he's still king.
It does.
Like he's still ordering him to come live with him and be his armor bearer.
Like it sounds like they have to wait for Saul to die in order to have another king, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Chapter 17. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Shochoh, which belongeth to Judah, and pitched between Shochoh and Azekah, in Ephesdammim. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together, and pitched by the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath.
Ooh.
Whoa, Goliath!
He got here real quick.
Yeah, he's here. Well, Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span, and he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders, and the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron.
and one bearing a shield went before him. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, Why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am I not a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me, and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him, and kill him, then then shall ye be our servants, and serve us. Oh, what is it called in Game of Thrones when they do a trial by combat?
Yeah.
That's basically what they're doing. They're just like, mano y mano, winner takes all. And the Philistine said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now David was the son, that Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse. And he had 8 sons, and the man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul.
Okay.
What?
Did you skip someone?
No. Now David was the son of that Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse.
We got that last chapter.
And Jesse had 8 sons, and the man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul. So he was old.
Yeah.
Jesse was old. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to the battle. And the names of his 3 sons that went to battle were Eliab, the firstborn, and next unto him Abinadab, and the third Shammah. And David was the youngest. And the 3 eldest followed Saul. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days. So 40 days, Goliath is out there like, come on, bitches! And Jesse said unto David his son, Take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and return to the camp to thy brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their house of their 1,000, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge. Now Saul and
so
they...
they're trying to treaty?
No, he's just bringing treats to his brothers on the battlefield.
Oh, okay.
And bringing news of how they fare back home, sounds like.
Okay.
Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah fighting with the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with a keeper, and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight, and shouted for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words. And David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, Have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God? Why are you looking at his at his privates, David? And the people answered him after this manner, saying, So shall it be done to the man that killeth him. And Eliab his eldest brother heard when he spake unto the men. And Eliab's anger was kindled against David, and he said, Why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride, and the naughtiness of thine heart. for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. And David said, What have I done now? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him toward another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, Let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. And Saul said to David, Thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. And David said unto Saul,
So we're just good with Saul being here now. I thought Saul was in exile.
No. Saul, is still,
Still king, but...
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Okay,
He's
I
definitely
guess,
still leading the armies.
Yeah, I guess it just makes no sense.
I guess he's just no longer buds with Samuel. Samuel's turned his back on him.
But he gets to stay king, even though God hates him and Saul hates him.
I guess. I don't know.
That's weird.
And David said unto Saul, Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Okay, what? A lion and a bear, and it took the lamb, and he went out and grabbed its beard and killed it. Which one, the lion or the bear? I'm guessing the lion. Why is there a bear there, though?
I don't know.
Thy
Other
servant...
than a zoo, I've never seen a lion and a bear together.
Yeah, just hanging out, hunting together. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be one of them, seeing that he hath defied the armies of the living God. He sounds like a dead-end kid to me. This lion and this bear came up and they took my lamb. I grabbed him by his whiskers and popped him one in the kisser. And David said, moreover, The Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, Go, and the Lord be with thee. All right, go for it, kid. And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put a helmet of brass upon his head. Also, he armed him with the coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off him. And he took his staff in his hand, and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even in a scrip, and his sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about, and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and of a fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto David, Am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. And the Philistine said to David, Come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. And said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts of God, of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. And this day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee. And I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, and all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. And it came to pass, when the Philistine arose, and came, and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted, and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into the forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword, and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. And the men of Israel and of Judah arose and shouted, and pursued the Philistines until thou come to the valley, and to the gates of Ekron. And the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way to Sha'araim, even unto Gath and unto Ekron. And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled their tents. And David took the head of the Philistine, and brought it to Jerusalem. But he put his armor in his tent. And when Saul saw David go forth against the Philistine, he said unto Abner, the captain of the host, Abner, whose son is this youth? And Abner said, As thy soul liveth, O king, I cannot tell. And the king said, Inquire thou whose son the stripling is. And as David returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, Abner took him, and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. And Saul said to him, Whose son art thou, thou young man? And David answered, I am the son of thy servant Jesse, the Bethlehemite. He already knew David, though. David was his armor bearer. He just forgot. All right, we got
I don't know.
David versus Goliath. We did it. Famous story.
Yeah.
And told like in a dramatic mode. Like
Yeah, it
an
was pretty
actual
good.
Yeah, it was so good. He's like they're taunting each other. He like runs out onto the field and just like blasts him in the fucking forehead so hard it caves his skull in. And he takes his sword off of him and chops his head off.
Did they really go into why the Philistines were bad though?
Well, they had taken over, remember, half of them. I mean, I thought they were already defeated at this point. I thought that was the whole point of Jonathan went and defeated them, but I guess they're still around. It's still an ongoing struggle between these two communities.
Yeah, I guess so. I just feel like we never really got an origin story, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this was part of Judges, of just like they kept getting taken over by surrounding territories. This was just the last one, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but pretty cool. Liked it. I like David, our new sassy New Yorker.
Yeah, love it.
God, David's pretty cool so far. I mean, definitely my favorite so far of Bible characters. I love a good underdog.
Yeah.
I like this story. This is a cool story where
That's good.
everybody else is shitting their pants, scared of Goliath, and he's like,
Little sibling comes in,
Yeah.
saves the day.
yeah, I'll do it.
Classic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool stuff. Excited to hear more David stories.
Do you think we will?
Oh yeah, David's gonna be around for a while.
Does he become God or does he become king?
He becomes God.
Does he become king?
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's King David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has got to be him, for sure.
It's got to be, right?
It's got to be. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
want to talk about the David statue
Oh yeah.
and what we learned?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Really cool. So we went to Italy. We were really lucky and got to go on this trip. And we went and saw the statue of David. And we had a great tour guide who really kind of gave us a lot of information about it. And one of the coolest things I thought was his pose with his sling over his shoulder and him holding the stone in his hand.
Well, how everybody was upset because every other image of David,
Oh yeah.
he's posed with the head of
Yeah,
Goliath.
the tradition is him standing there with his foot on the head of Goliath, or holding the head of Goliath up to show everybody that he's killed him.
But obviously, in the statue of David, there's no severed Goliath head to be seen.
Yeah, so like a lot of the city of Florence was pretty upset.
Yeah. But our guide said that the Michelangelo's depiction, the reason why there's no Goliath head is because it's supposed to be before he slings the rock. Like while he's looking out, surveying the battle and deciding to step forward. That's why his arm is tensed. And like you can see like the forearm muscles like protruding because he's getting ready to like blast that rock into his forehead. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, good statue.
It was a very cool statue, yeah.
Yeah. Big fan. Michelangelo. Artist and turtle. All right. Yeah. So moral of the story here. Why is this such a I think for one, the reason this is such a popular, long enduring story, not only because of the bravery and kind of underdog aspect of David, coming from lowly beginnings to, I'm guessing, eventually becoming king. But this is by far the best, most dramatic storytelling we've had so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting into some better writing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one. All right. Well, stay dumb, everybody.
Stay dumb.